Hey there, Rustin here. Got a special video today. I have taken in a collection that is near and dear to my heart. It is the second most important collection for Force of Will for me. This is my best friend's Force of Will collection. You're probably asking yourself, why have they given me their Force of Will collection? Well, there's multiple factors, and one of them is just that they just don't have the time and the money to, invest into Force of Will and, continue playing Force of Will. The fact that we don't have a locals, the fact that there's just not the biggest scene for Force of Will, it is kind of hard to justify dropping as much money on it as I do, or as other people in the Force of Will community do. This is a very bittersweet video. I'm very happy that I have this collection in my collection now. I've played against this collection over the years, from Grim Cluster all the way to Alice Cluster, and obviously you see a Curse of the Frozen Casket cards in there. Yeah, about the end of Alice Cluster is when we kind of stopped playing as much together. It was it kind of turned into me collecting sealed products more than us actually finding time to play. And there's multiple factors. One of the major ones I think is we both had girlfriends, so that was definitely a very time-consuming thing, and also going on dates costs money. But yeah, it was a good the first 2 years of Force of Will we played, I'd say almost weekly if not monthly, and we had multiple friends that were playing Force of Will, and I believe some of their collections ended up in his collection, and yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. It's a sad thing, but it's a beautiful thing. I know that these cards are going to be in a safe place because they will be with me. Now, there are some cards that aren't here that we know he has. He has them somewhere. He told me that whenever he finds them, or if he finds them, he'll just give them to me. Major thing they were missing are some, there's no Moonshades here, and there's no Little Red the Pure Stone, which I know for a fact that he has them. We played against them, and even he was I'm not going crazy, am I? I had those cards, right? And I was yeah, no, you had them. I remember us talking we need to buy more of these, or we need to buy some booster boxes and crack more of them. But there is a lot of good stuff here, and there are some slightly newer cards here, just because I tried to do a as a birthday thing, buy the most recent booster box, and we would just play a booster box versus booster box game against each other. As you can see here, we also sort of bought some Curse of the Frozen Casket pre-release kits, and just had a pre-release kit versus pre-release kit game, which that was a lot of fun. That was probably some of the most sealed Force of Will fun I've had in a while, because you have a majority of the card pool at your disposal there with a pre-release kit for a set, but at the same time there's a level of RNG of which rollers are you getting, and then how many of a particular super rare or Marvel, well there wasn't Marvel rares here yet, there's super rares and rares, but how many of a particular super rare are you getting, and it's yeah. Also, Curse of the Frozen Casket, you had dual stones, so it was which dual stones are you getting? So that was Curse of the Frozen Casket is fucking amazing. I will go ahead and say this now, I do have plans for another special video in regards to Curse of the Frozen Casket is in the works. I am planning for it. I'm trying to save up money for it, but there's also Foul Fest later this year that I really want to attend. If you can attend it, that'd be awesome. I know, money, it costs money to travel and stuff, and you also have to, make time and stuff for it, but if you're interested in, going to a Force of Will in-person event, I feel Foul Fest would probably be, one of the go-tos, because a GP is gonna be a little more competitive. Don't get me wrong, Force of Will is a fairly, it's what was the phrase that, Jeremy coined? It's a community that competes, not a competing community, I believe is what the phrase was, which is just saying we are a community first, but then we also have competitive scenes and stuff. So yeah, I know for a fact that I gave him a box of Epic of the Dragon Lord, so if he ever finds that was the last one that I bought him, and we just never got around to playing the game, booster box versus booster box. So after that, I was just like, that might have been the last one that we had a shot to do. We are very busy. We're adults now. He has a wife and 2 kids. Yeah. That being said though, this is more of a trade than it was just gaining a collection. He's going to something that's a little more popular. I'm sure you guys have heard of the game Magic the Gathering. Now, we have played Magic the Gathering in the past. I played Magic before I played Force of Will because Force of Will wasn't a thing yet. And even in the past, like, Magic just didn't really it wasn't really my cup of tea. And we hadn't like gotten into Commander or anything, which yeah, whenever I heard about Commander, I was like, man, that sounds 100 cards? Woof, that's a lot to deal with. And now, as I am now, the only way I really want to play Magic is Commander, because regular standard, I have no interest in, and modern and all that, I have absolutely no interest in. So whenever it comes to Magic the Gathering, I told him okay, I got 2 formats for you. Well, technically 3. Draft, Sealed, and Commander. Those are the only times I will play Magic the Gathering with you. And let me show you what I trade with him for this collection. I think value-wise, it evens out, but yeah, it was one of those things of he had all this, I had this that I also felt was taking up space. Now granted, it is appreciating in value, it's going up because that's just how sealed products are. Whenever I heard he was going back into Magic, I told him, hey, a major reason why we kind of stopped playing Force of Will together was because rotating formats, old cards are no longer that playable. Wanderer wasn't as popular back then, and Wanderer wasn't going to become the main, format until this year. But I understood him not wanting to hop back in because at this point there was just so much catching up he'd have to do. I told him there's a Wanderer set coming out later this year, but then it was you're gonna be dropping money on this and we don't have a locals. The only way you'll really be able to play is with friends and stuff and online. And I completely understand the vibe of just wanting to go to a store, maybe pick up a Commander deck or and just try that out. Whereas for Force of Will, it's alright, you gotta buy online, you gotta deal with the shipping and stuff. It's print to pre-order, so boxes are gonna go up in price because there's no more pre-orders or something, and people are increasing the prices because they're able to get there before everyone else. And yeah, so I gave him these 2 Commander decks. I just happen to have extras. A little story time with Rustin here. This whole thing is story time with Rustin, to be honest. I had a TCG group. Well, I guess I still technically have a TCG group. We're not meeting as often as we used to before, the pandemic and all that, but I was investing in Magic the Gathering products along with Force of Will products, just having sealed products and stuff, and there's a deal of hey, buy 3 of each and it's at a cheaper price and stuff. So I just happen to have extras of these, so I was hey, let me trade you these for your collection, at least for the bulk and stuff. And then for the stuff that was actually value of hey, you could probably sell these as singles and make some money back and all that. Instead of doing that, where he would just be spending, months to years trying to sell those off, I was just hey, I'll give you this booster box, and then this booster box. So yeah, there was a point in my life where I was investing in Magic the Gathering sealed products, and they have, some of them have gone up in value. I think Theros has, stayed about the same and stuff, but I was looking at it, and I was this is, basically guaranteed, good return on my investment. But I was looking at it, I was just I don't really care about Magic. And I was looking at Force of Will, I was it doesn't really go up in value as fast. It doesn't always retain its value depending on how the set is. You look at Curse of the Frozen Casket, the booster boxes are $30 to $40 depending on where you buy from. And I was just you know what? I'm just gonna invest in Force of Will. Let's say it doesn't go up in value that much. I'll deal with that later. I can just open the boxes whenever, treat it like a fine wine is what my mindset was to treat it like a fine wine. And yeah, and to be fair, when Force of Will, I think it was year 2 of Force of Will, where I was oh, that's actually a great idea, Rustin, because I was watching alpha investment videos and they were talking about old Magic sets, and I was you know what, Force of Will could do that, the boxes could go up in value, and some of the boxes did go up in value. And yeah, I'm very happy with some of the choices I made with that. But at at the same time, there are definitely boxes that just, they plummeted in value. Now, would I recommend investing in Force of Will these days? That's a weird one. The fact that it's not a big 3 game, it really varies. Like, as long as the game is still going and it still has like somewhat of a community for it, it'll still probably retain value, but I would not be with someone who's like, invest in Force of Will like it's you know, a golden goose. It's not a golden goose. It's very much a, if you're investing in Force of Will, you care about the game, is how I look at it. Like, I care about Force of Will. I don't necessarily care about Magic. I was doing this because we had a TCG group that played Magic the Gathering. I was trying to get them into Force of Will, like, gradually. I got a few of them to try out the game and stuff, but like I said, the pandemic happened and I didn't really get to like convert anyone over to Force of Will fully. Now, something funny, in the D&D group that I have, we actually have someone who their first card game, as far as I know, at least like a recent card, I don't know if they played like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon back in the day, but their first card game was Force of Will. So they actually played Force of Will before they tried out Magic the Gathering, and it was just like, oh, this is awkward. Now that I'm realizing it, usually I have to explain to a Magic the Gathering player the differences of like that game and Force of Will and like what Force of Will does different. But now it's like, alright, instead of saying your lands are in a separate deck, I'm like, alright, so your lands are your magic stones, and those magic stones are in your deck, and you have to draw those. So I was just like, when I realized it, and I realized it pretty quickly, I was just like, this is fucking funny. You know? For this video, I'm gonna take what I value here to my desk. Like, I value all of it, but there is some that are like, oh, that should get double sleeve, or oh, that should be like, you know, tossed in with staples and stuff. And we're just gonna talk as I sleeve stuff up. Now, there is a lot of foils here. There's a lot of cards that I consider like valuable, at least staples and stuff. So I don't know if like I'll record it all, or it might just be one of those things of like I cut it up into different videos or something. But yeah, this is a very, very special thing to me, and I just wanted to like show it to you guys. Like I said, it's bittersweet. If you ever ask to like, you know, play Force of Will again, you know, or something, this is gonna be lumped in with my collection. But if he ever says like, hey, I want to try this deck out or something, I'll probably make the deck for him and we can like jam some games. Another idea I have is to make a old school cube. I've made a peasant cube before, but trying to make like a Alice and Grimm cluster cube, I think that could be fun. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about, of making more cubes, because like we have Vingolf 1 and 2 there, and like arguably Vingolf 1 and 2, you can just play them as a standalone set, which is kind of a cool thing. I've kind of like put together a Vingolf 1 and 2 just like in a BCW box, and like it's kind of like that one Magic the Gathering product, Unscrewed. It's one of the, I'll pop up a picture here. It's one of the unsets that was just as a standalone set, and like, yeah, or you could look at it as like Jumpstart or something. Also, I don't know if anyone caught this in their eye, but before I started making my own like custom cards for double-sided cards, because I like to have the double-sided cards sleeve clear and then have a stand-in card for the actual deck, I sent these off to like a printing company, and they're like decent quality, but like I would probably never do this again. I would just make my own and stuff, which I have made my own for some double-sided cards and stuff. Alright, let me pull you guys off this tripod. I'll give you a slightly closer look at what we got here just before we go to the desk. So everything in this pre-release kit box, that is basically just bulk commons, uncommons. There's some bulk rares in there that I was like, I don't see myself sleeving this up. And for the most part here, everything here, I already have a collection sleeved up. It's just gonna be more a matter of swapping out cards for the foil versions just to bling out the collection. So yeah, just a stack of foils right there. Bunch of old school foils. Let's change the world. There's a Apollo's. And you know, some of these cards are probably never gonna be played again, like fucking Inquisition. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I even like bothered running this back when I played Joan of Arc. I take that back. I probably played it, but like it was a theme deck. Here's a Bahamut card, I believe. Yeah, Realm of the Dragon King. Man. So yeah, there's a lot of just classic cards here. Yeah, there's a Dracula card. Yeah, the Vingolf 1 and 2. You know, like I said, I'm probably gonna like treat this as a standalone thing. Or I might make a cube and include that in the cube. I will say I do love the artwork of Van Gogh 1's Magic Stones. They are very cool. I'm happy that they reused that artwork. That's from the Faria and Melgus Star deck, which was like dual decks, I guess. There's Van Gogh 2 Stone. There's the Melgus Magic Stone. Well, it's just a basic Magic Stone, but yeah. Rook Egg, that's a classic. I don't know if I'd consider Rook Egg a staple still, but like, it's, you know, it's a classic card, so even if it doesn't go in with the staples, I'll still probably run in a cube and stuff. Yeah. Ooh, Lil Dread. Lil Dread is a classic. I remember hitting this card and yeah, it was really fucking cool. And also like, this was a time where like, we hadn't like fully dived into the lore and we were like, this is Little Red Riding Hood from Crimson Moon Fairy Tale. And then like, you get to NPR and it's like, that one ruler looks similar to Little Red Riding Hood. It's like, oh, that is, it's not the Hotep. Oh, there's some identity stealing shenanigans. Yeah. There's some newer cards, like that's from Prologue of Autorochtia. Some tokens. Curse of the Frozen Casket, like I said. I do have plans for Curse of the Frozen Casket, so happy to have more non-foil versions of higher rarity cards. That'll make sense later while I'm saying non-foil. Some basic stones, which I feel like he has more basic stones because, like I said, like there's portions of this collection that we did not see. They're probably tucked away in a box somewhere. Yeah. Like, I'm sad to say that a quick look through the collection, there's no Cheshire Cats, there was no Moonlights, no Low Red Pure Stone. So there are cards missing here that, depending on when this goes out, I might toss it in at the end of the video. But yeah, just a bunch of special stones. Happy to add that to the collection, also because I got Prologue of Autorochtia, some waifu stones, and just a bunch of old rulers. Yeah, Sylvia, Mars. Yeah, Snow Whites. Rizard. Just a bunch of classics. For those of you with a keen eye, there's also some Kaijudo cards. Before Force of Will, I told him about like Duel Masters because we had been playing Magic I remember very clearly, we were in his room, we were playing Magic the Gathering. I was just like, man, I miss Duel Masters because I just hated getting mana screwed. I hated it so much. And he was like, oh, what's Duel Masters? And I explained it to him. I was like, okay, well like every card can be a mana source. And he was like, oh, like Kaijudo. And I was like, what the fuck is Kaijudo? And then it was like, oh no, like Kaijudo, like this is Kaijudo, and then he like pulls out a deck and stuff, and I was like looking through, I was like, this is fucking Duel Masters. These are fucking Duel Masters monsters. And he was like, what the fuck is Duel Masters? It doesn't make any sense. So then like, you know, we pull out our phones and stuff, and I like have to explain to him, he's like, oh, huh. Yeah, they rebooted that. And I was like, oh shit. So we like immediately drove down to our local card shop, picked up some Kaijudo decks, and just like jammed games with them. It was a good time. And then Force of Will came out, and it was like, oh, yeah, this is so much better. Yeah, it was one of those things of like, he was like, I'm not gonna do anything with it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it off your hands. Maybe I'll make like a Kaijudo cube or something. But yeah, this is just a quick little overview of all the cards and stuff. And like I said, there might be more at the end of the video, or I might toss it in of like, hey, stick around to like see some other cool cards or something. I'll make it work out. Let's get back to the desk. So after looking through the collection, I decided I would just pull the foils for the most part. I did pull one card which was non-foil, just because I wanted to get that sleeved up, but everything here is foil. The one card that I pulled that wasn't foil was the Origin of the Seven Lands. I just want to go ahead and get like another copy of that sleeved up, just to add to the collection, since that is a very pivotable card, you know, in the meta right now. So here's the game plan. I'm gonna go through these cards, I'm gonna sleeve them up, and it's just gonna be story time with Rustin. If we see something that triggers a memory, if we see something that's like, oh yeah, good times, that's basically what's gonna happen, is I'm gonna like just talk, and this is gonna be mostly just a talking video. If that's not your cup of tea, by all means, you know, you don't have to watch it. But yeah, I'm just gonna shoot the shit with you guys. If this turns into a multi-part thing, I'll try to like upload the first part before I record the second part, just on the off chance anyone like pitches a question or anything. Or yeah, I'm not gonna upload like a 3-hour video of me sleeving cards. I'll do that in multiple parts, but like a 3-hour video at 1080p 60 FPS, like that's gonna take a long ass time to upload. Alright, also, I'm just gonna say this right now, any editing that occurs here, it's gonna be very minimal. This is very much a, I'm gonna enjoy this collection. This is a very important collection to me, and, yeah, I just wanted to kind of share the experience of going through the cards with you guys to a degree. Like I showed you in the, first part of this video, that box for the pre-release kit for CFC, that was mostly just the bulk commons and uncommons, and also what I consider bulk rares. Cards that, yeah, some of them can see play and stuff. Like, I think Pumpkin Witch is an uncommon. I did pull all the Pumpkin Witches outside of the collection to set aside, but like, aside from that, most cards that were in that box, that's gonna get tossed with my bulk. It's, very sentimental bulk, but like, it's very much still bulk. Like, I'll probably dig through it like later on and like properly organize it, but like when I was looking through it, I was like, this isn't gameplay, this isn't gameplay, this isn't gameplay, this isn't gameplay. Oh, this might get played, and yeah. So that was pretty much like the mindset here. I think we'll start with the rulers, because after that we can just set them aside. So right here are the Grim Cluster rulers, which, speaking of this, at the first part of the video where I was just showing off the whole collection, I did get a text message from him today. He did find some more of his old collection. I say old collection, like he only found stuff from a recent couple sets. Hopefully he finds the, moonshades and stuff, but you also notice there's a ruler missing in here, which I'm kind of sad about. But starting off, Little Red Riding Hood. This was actually the first ruler I ever cracked for Force of Will in a booster box. It was also the first ruler that I made a deck for. Before this, I only had the old school Valhalla starter decks, so this right here is a very sentimental ruler, and yeah, I have my own copy. I'm not saying that this is my copy. What I'm saying is that still very sentimental. Like this is probably gonna be the copy that I play with if I make a deck for Little Red Riding Hood. This is probably gonna be the copy I'll use. Yeah, very beautiful artwork, and let's actually zoom in so you guys can enjoy this. I know a lot of newer players probably haven't like seen these before. Yeah, little wolf in the back. And then like there's like shadowing here, and I question if that's like her panties or something, or if that's just like the tails like shadow or something. Like she could just be like freeballing it down there for all we know, let's be honest. But yeah, very cute roller side, and then it's, yeah, transform into a borderline werewolf. Yeah, very cool. This card has seen some love. Yeah, that's rough. I mean, that happens with cards, I don't know if it happened like recently. I don't recall if when this was like a newer card if that happened, but still, that kind of sucks. But yeah, everything else here, it's in pretty decent condition for the most part. I did notice that the centering on the J ruler side for these older cards is a little off every now and then. It's not as extreme with these copies, I don't think, but oh yeah, this was a fun time. I remember we were doing random ruler versus random ruler, and we agreed that if you got Pandora Girl of the box, you could run either or both of them. So like having one of these in the sideboard and like, doing like a smoke screen of like tossing your ruler into your sideboard and like being, secretive about which ruler you plop down. It's kind of a it was a little fun little meta thing. Yeah, those were good times. We got two of those, no whites. Very cool. Some of this artwork, I'm like there's a nostalgia to it. Like, you will never see something like this, like, cute little Puss in Boots, and then turn into a fucking human with this style of artwork. Like this, you don't see this in modern Force of Will that much. At the same time though, like, I do enjoy where Force of Will is now. It's really fun. It feels like Force of Will has found more of an identity, I guess you could say, as far as his art goes. Like, yeah, I can look at an old school Force of Will card and be like, that's a Force of Will card. But like, at the same time, like, I've played since then. Like, I've been playing since then. But like, you look at a more modern Force of Will card and it's like, it's pretty anime, but it's not anime to the point to where it's just straight up ripping off an anime. By that I mean like Weiss. Well, I guess Weiss isn't really ripping off. They're just straight up using like anime artwork and stuff. But like, there's a style to it, and yeah, let me pull out yeah, okay, yeah, like this card right here, very much anime inspired, really looks like Force of Will artwork, yeah, but at the same time, like old school Force of Will artwork, there's just it's a level of beauty to it. Very respectable. Like, oh man, Alucard here, Dracula, oh So cool. Man, Dracula was also, that was a, I remember I made the little red deck and I made a Dracula deck. And that Dracula deck that I made was like slightly better. I felt like I actually made something more competent whenever I made a Dracula deck. I used to actually have it still together. I dismantled it like, I think a few years ago and stuff, but like, I was pretty proud of that deck. I wonder if I kept the list somewhere. If I kept the list somewhere, I need to try to find that. Yeah. Remember this Kaguya? I remember Geraldo trying to make a deck for it and it just did not really pan out. It just, yeah, it was a weird deck with the treasures and stuff. Yeah. Well, actually, was this one with the treasures? Yeah, okay, yeah, that treasuries. Yeah, that's what that deck was, yeah. Grim, he kicked my ass with Grim a lot. I actually didn't open Grim in my first booster box. I think it was in like, I think it took me 2 or 3 booster boxes to crack a Grim. But yeah, it was, I got my ass kicked pretty hard by fairy tales. Like, they were just really good. I mean, fairy tales are still good in this day and age. It's just that, like, Grimm was very much like I mean, he was all about fairy tales, so it was, yeah. Crimson Girl in the Sky, yeah, I remember this one, yeah. Little Red, the true fairy tale. I remember losing to this. I think it was Troy. I think it was Troy that had a deck for this, or was it Taylor? I think it was Troy made a deck for this, and I had, like, the worst matchup. I have a very, like, detailed memory of yeah, getting wrecked by that bit. Lumia, it was either Geraldo or Taylor that made a Lumia deck. I can't recall. I want to say Geraldo. I don't remember how well it performed. Alice, good times. I remember this whenever SKL came out, or actually it wasn't even like SKL yet. It was like leading up to it. It was the Faria and Melgus starter decks that came out before the like launch of Alice Cluster, at least in our LG. So like when Force Will was going on, it was very much like buying at LGS's. I hadn't started to like buy online until original Alice Cluster at startup was like shortly after that I started buying online. But yeah, I remember hearing about the it wasn't an FTK, but it was like a first turn like just wreck house. It involved this Rukeg and our good old buddy Cthulhu, and then also Leviathan, which I don't know if I can quickly find a copy of that, but yeah, I mean, a majority of people know about that combo, and that's a major reason why Leviathan is banned. You just pop off too hard, yeah. Bahamut, good times. Oh, yeah, there's another copy of that. Abdul, none of us really played Abdul. We respected Abdul, but it just wasn't really our cup of tea. I think the argument was that we felt it was a bit too oppressive, or it was something like that. I don't remember what the argument was back then as to why we didn't play, because it's a good ruler and stuff. It was just, yeah. Charizard, yeah, this was the one where you got to set a magic stone at the top, right? Yeah, you got to choose your first magic stone, yeah. Yeah, and then I think it was Grimia. Yeah, Grimia was Geraldo's first deck that he threw together. I think he pulled either 3 or 4 Ragnaroks in his first booster box for NPR, and yeah, he threw Grimia together. And I think one of our first games was, well, actually our first few games were the OG Valhalla star decks. I tried using different ones against his Grimia deck, and like OG Valhalla, at least the star decks, and then like trying to compete with just a booster box of Force of Will, like one cluster next. It was an uphill battle. Yeah. Once again, it was a star deck, and he got really good pulls and stuff. But at the same time, I was like, man, shit. I will say that the Astima star deck, not the Astima star deck, but whatever star, the Darkness star deck, I don't remember what the roller is, but it had a Astima resonator. Astima quickly became one of my like favorite Force of Will characters from that. Yeah, I got my first win because I was like, oh, Astima's fucking broken. This is really fucking good. And then I like, yeah, I like squeezed out a win against his Grimia deck because I read how Astima worked, and I was like, oh, that's just awesome. Because it was, I think her ability was like banish a Darkness resonator. This card gains like plus 100 or plus, it was a you know, a boost in stats. But then I read it and I was like, oh, it's not once per turn, I can just do this multiple times. Yeah. I think Kane might have been another deck that Geraldo made shortly after that, or I made that. I might have made this deck, yeah. We both made a Kane deck at some point. We just really dug the fact that like, even though he like judgmented, you still like got a magic stone every turn. It was really cool. Yeah. So yeah, you would go down a stone for a turn, but after that, like you would get a magic stone every main phase, so it was really cool. So yeah, a lot of nostalgia there. A lot of nostalgia. The Vingolf rulers, those were always fun. I remember getting shown how broken Vlad was, and I was just like, oh wow, let's agree not to play Vlad against each other. Yeah, that was Vlad was really fucking good. Vlad is still pretty alright, but like it's never gonna be like as scary as it used to be. Yeah. And then we have the Faria versus Melga star decks. Yeah, those were cool. These were cool times. Getting the Lancelots, getting the Rook eggs, getting the Regalia and stuff. Also Guinevere, oh, and the Percivals. Oh, man, those are some powerful cards. Like, and I would say that like Grim Cluster is whenever I like started like, really like see, oh wow, I actually really enjoy this game. I found a card game that I actually want to collect all the cards and I want to like play all the rulers and stuff. And then whenever the Faria and Melga star deck came out, I was like, oh wow, there's a level of competitiveness here and I'm enjoying it. Like, oh, it's just so many foils here. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but like this stack right here, it's a thick stack. These are all foils, except for that one card that I mentioned earlier. Then we got SKL. Yep. 7 Kings of the Land. Oh. And like the non-SKL were, obviously, we had the Alice, which has similar situation as Pandora, with 2 different J-ruler sides. We also had Blazer, who was like a genuine like threat, just being able to like kill your opponent's J-roller on entry. Like, oh, it's so cool. Yeah. And then we also had the booster box versions of Melgus, and Faria's not in here. I'm almost positive he had a man, yeah, there's some cards here that are definitely missing. I didn't even realize as I was like organizing stuff a bit, I was like, oh, there's no booster box Faria in here. I guess that's another one that's missing. So yeah, there's Nyarlathotep from NPR that was missing, and then there's the booster box Faria. Well, hopefully he finds those. I mean, like, it's not so much that like I want to throw it in my collection. Like, to a degree I do want to throw it in my collection, but at the same time I'm like, that's nostalgia. That's history right there. That card has memories attached to it. Yeah. Dark Alice, really fucking cool. I remember seeing that. I was like, I really want to make a deck around that, and yeah, it was a fun time. Sylvia, also a really cool concept. Was it your wind stones produce fire as well? No, it's your fire stones also produce wind. Also, I think it was Blazer had another ability on his that was like all stones produce fire or something like that. Yeah, magic stones you control produce fire. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think Geraldo made like one deck with the Overlord version of Valentina and played it like once or twice against me. Yeah. Reflect Refrain. Remember that getting errata? This was the first one that like I remember hearing about errata. Yeah. Kongi, Tree was annoying to deal with, at least on a casual level. Here's the thing, I did not try to play competitive, like I didn't even try to play like at a tournament at locals. I didn't like try to play competitively back then at all. It wasn't until like a year, or is it 2 now? I think it's only been a year that they started doing online tournaments via like Discord and stuff, that I actually like dove a bit into the competitive foul scene. So yeah, like all this stuff, very casual games. I thought he had a Gil Lapis ruler as well, so I guess that's another one that might be missing. Hopefully he finds that. Before we start actually like hardcore sleeving, there is one thing that I want to start with, just because it's another very easy like nostalgia trip. Life Sucker. Not exactly like the end all be all card. It damages you every, recovery phase. Actually, wait, at the beginning of the recovery phase. Oh, actually, so this is good. I think this goes off on your opponent's turn as well. Unless like OG Valhalla had different ruling. But yeah, by this text, you lose 400 life every turn, basically. That's actually a really bad card now that I'm reading it. But yeah, this was actually the first promo I ever got. I remember he showed off this promo, and I was like, oh, wow, that looks fucking cool. It's like no text box and all that. And he was like, yeah, no, it's a promo. Like, go and buy a box from our locals. Was like, well, we had 2 locals for Force of Will. The main one that we went to a lot was Game HQ, and then like another one that was like starting up was DZ Comics. But yeah, I immediately like, after we were done hanging out, I drove down to Game HQ, and I I was like, can I buy a box of Force of Will? I heard that there's promos attached to them. Yeah. And then Hamlin's Pied Piper was like another promo that we got shortly after. Then these were from CFC. It was a pre-release kit promo. I don't think I'm gonna bother sleeving these up, at least right now. I do also have my own chunk of them, and I mean, like, they don't look very warped at all, and I feel like them being in the plastic might already protect them a bit from the elements. So yeah, I might just give these out to like friends or something as they play games of Force of Will or something, or if anyone like gets interested enough in Force of Will. Yeah, you know, I'm a dumbass. I totally skipped the other little like mini chunk of rulers. But like seeing the CFC pre-release kit promos, that reminded me. So one of the last major things we did for Force of Will that Geraldo and I like had a somewhat competitive, like casual competitive is how we described it. We each bought a pre-release kit for CFC, and yeah, we kind of cracked those open, and we were like, all right, the thing that we agreed on was only open one half of CFC, play a game, and then open the other half of CFC and play another game. He opened, I believe it was Charlotte and Mars were the first ones that he opened. I opened, I think I opened Sun Wukong and Zero, and yeah, he chose Mars because just some amazing burn. I chose Zero because, you know, obvious reasons. Zero is fucking awesome. Probably my favorite Force of Will character. And yeah, I got my ass kicked, not gonna lie. I did not know what to expect going into that, and I did not necessarily plan for all the burn, so yeah. I got stomped. And then, you know, match number 2, we got to open up the second half of the pre-release kits. I don't remember which rulers I got. I think I might have gotten a second Sun Wukong and a Mars. I can't recall. And then he, that lucky bastard, you know, yeah, sure, got a Sun Wukong and whatever, but he got a textured Zero. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I was really fucking jealous, not gonna lie. So I'm also like happy to have this going into my collection, yeah. But yeah, match number 2, I came in with the assumption that he was gonna stick on the burn path because my mindset was like, okay, with half a pre-release kit, he was able to kick my ass. With another half, he's probably gonna get more of the cards to, you know, just make the burn strategy a little more consistent. So I went, I hope the card is somewhere in here. I went with a very like life gain strategy. I was even running the Lumia, the double side one, the shift card, that when you shift it, your life becomes 4,000. And man, that was if it wasn't for the life gain, I would have died like multiple times. It was a fun like second match. Yeah. Then I'm so dumb. Yeah, Prologue of Autorocktia. That was actually the last one that we did. We did before this we actually did Alice Origins 1. We did a star deck and a booster box versus a star deck and a booster box. I let him choose a star deck. He chose Faria. I got Melgus. And then we cracked open a booster box and then like upgraded the star decks basically with that, which I won that one, which I feel like I just probably got luckier pools there. Also just trying to do like limited environments for Alice Origins was a headache. Yeah. But yeah, Prologue of Autorocktia was another one that we did, where it was a booster box versus a booster box. He got Gil Lapis. I actually asked him which ruler he'd want, and he said Gil Lapis. I told him, like, I'm taking Dark Alice. Like, I'm taking Dark Alice. So I was like, you can have Magna, or you can have Gil Lapis, and, you know, he had run Gil Lapis in the past, so, yeah, of course, choose the boy. Since it was a buy box promo, I, like, shifted the packs around in the booster boxes as they were, like, still closed to like peek and see like the names and the art and stuff of the little like buy box promo shifting around in it. And I just kind of was like, I'm not gonna open it for him so he doesn't think there's any shenanigans going on. But I brought it to him and I was like, okay, listen, trust me. This has Gil Lapis in it. Trust me, it does. I don't need to make you a proxy or anything. It just has Gil Lapis in it. Yeah, so that was a fun time. The other one that we did, that was actually like the last booster box I bought him, was Epic of the Dragon Lord. I don't know what ruler he pulled. I just remember him saying like, oh yeah, I, you know, pulled some cool stuff, but I can't actually like play the deck properly. So I'm thinking he pulled Ragnarok and he just didn't like the card pool because it was singleton and there was no dual stones, and Ragnarok didn't get his support stone until like 2 sets later. So Yeah, that's what my assumption is. Yeah, I was kind of bummed that we never got to play the game because the box that I opened, I actually recorded it, but we never got around. I was gonna like talk about it and stuff on like camera and stuff of like how the boost box versus boosted box game went, but yeah, we never got around to like actually playing. And I pulled Welster, and I was liking how the deck was like kind of coming together. I think I only pulled like 1 or 2 of his special stones, but at the same time I pulled like 2 Altisings, so I was like, hell yeah, this is pretty solid. I was looking at like going Welster and then like with a burn strategy. It was a fun time. Sad that we never got to play the game, but like just opening the box, I was like, I like how this looks. All right, let's get sleeving. We'll start with the promos. Just get that out of the way. Feel free to judge me. So here's how I like to sleeve stuff. For my promos, for my rulers, and obviously just double-sided cards in general, I like to sleeve in clear sleeves. I don't remember what I think the justification was whenever Force Will was starting up, was that I had a shit ton of clear sleeves, and like you only needed 1 ruler, and like getting rulers and booster boxes, there's only like a few of them per box, or only a couple of them per box depending on the set. And I was like, well, you know what, I'll go ahead and sleeve up these in like clear sleeves and stuff, and I'll have something to do with the clear sleeves. Yeah, that was my justification for the promos. I will say Life Sucker, the first one that I got, I did sleeve up in a black sleeve like I do with all my other main deck cards. I just, the nostalgia there, I haven't bothered to like re-sleeve it. Let's see now, a topic that I've thought about as I was thinking about stuff to talk about for this. Like this, I wouldn't say the state of Force Will, but like I was basically given this collection. Like, yes, I did trade for it and stuff, but like, at the end of the day, I feel like he probably would have like given it to me for less instead of what I gave. Like, I feel like I gave, like, in my opinion, an equal amount, if not maybe a little bit more, just because it was, sealed magic product and stuff. But at the same time, like, I probably would have like given more if he had asked. I feel like Force of Will has a weird, it's in a weird place right now. It's gradually growing in my opinion. Like, Force Will feels like it's gradually growing, but at the same time, it feels like the only way to really play is competitively to a degree. Like, yes, there is casual play, like you can play with friends, you can draft, you can do sealed, but like you can also do that for Magic the Gathering and like other card games. And those other card games they're just more popular, they're bigger. And because of that, it's a bit weird. Like, yes, Force of Will is probably the most fun card game I've ever played. And there's a reason why I enjoy playing it over other card games. There's a reason why I enjoy collecting it more than say Magic the Gathering, than say Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a fun game. Like, I'm not going to deny that whatsoever. Does it have its faults? Yes, of course. It's not a perfect game. There are no perfect card games. Unless you want to, like, there's no perfect trading card games or collectible card games. But I don't know, I feel like there needs to be more attention to like casual formats to make more use of like the less powerful cards. Like there's that box of bulk commons, uncommons, and even some rares that just don't really see play. But like for Magic the Gathering, and even like Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, actually no, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is also pretty like, you kind of need a more competitive deck, and there's a lot of bulk that you end up with. But like for Pokemon and like Magic the Gathering, I feel like there is a need for those like lower rarity or cheaper cards. Yeah, to a degree, it's probably just like deck filler, but like for the most parts, you're gonna be using a lot of those cards. And like a major thing about that is because like a lot of people, like for Magic the Gathering, for Pokemon, and even to a degree Yu-Gi-Oh!, they don't really play super competitively. They play, kitchen table, they play, a locals, but like they might not actually compete in a tournament and stuff. But like for Force of Will, like when you see a deck and this is also like something that I've been wanting to get around to, but like when you see a deck profile and stuff, the question is this the optimal deck? Is there a way to improve the deck? Instead of being like, oh, this looks like a fun deck, I'll pick it up, you know, like, I don't know, it's, I feel like I'm gonna, shout out to Sabo in the community, and also like Charlie on the XD channel. He's LMAO in the Force of Will TCG Discord. He's like a judge and stuff. But Sabo in the Force of Will TCG Discord has been doing like a great job. He's been doing like more theme deck style decks for like each ruler, and he's been like knocking it out of the park in my opinion. He is very much like, let's not be competitive, that's not the mindset, I'm trying to make a theme deck. Like he even asked me like on one of the decks, because like the ruler just didn't really have a theme going on, so he like asked me for some ideas, and I like pitched an idea, and it's like, yeah, but that's really more this ruler's theme, and I was like, I see what you're doing here. The issue isn't so much that the deck is not hard to build, because you're trying to make it casual with a theme. You are purposely like, you're setting a challenge for yourself, and that's very respectable. And the reason why I like what he's doing is that newer players, they can see those decks, they have like a core that they can play around with, and they can just, run the core deck, and it's almost like that ruler has a star deck now. But at the same time, like a player that's trying to like make it a little more competitive, they can look at it and they can be like, all right, what could I swap out here? I have the core of the deck now. I see what the deck is trying to do. How can I improve it? And hell, like some of the stuff is just like, well, maybe just run this magic stone instead of, all these different dual stones, or maybe run these dual stones instead of that magic stone. But yeah, Sabo has been killing it there. Very happy with that. I don't think Sabo has a YouTube channel. I feel like he would have mentioned it by now, but like, big shout out to that guy. Like, well done. I really want to like get my own like almost theme deck building. I would say more just casual, because I don't think I'd be able to like stick to the theme limitations all that much as he does, because like that is a that is textured. Ooh, beautiful. But yeah, He's killing it, yeah. And then Charlie over on the XD channel, which if you're subscribed to me and you're not subscribed to Charlie, go subscribe to Charlie. I don't know what you're doing there. If you're subscribed here, like, yeah, I do like pack openings, and I've done 2 skits, and like I've done like a few other non pack opening videos, but like Charlie is like one of the major judges for Force of Will, at least in like the English speaking areas. That one's not foil. I can get set aside. I would highly recommend going and subscribing over to him. He does like his takes on which cards are probably the most meta relevant for each set as they're getting released. He's been doing like a ruler tier list every now and then, but more importantly, he's been deck building like every single week, except for like whenever he takes like a vacation or something. Like obviously he doesn't always upload and stuff, but like he's been killing on the deck building as well. Like damn. So stuff like what Sabo's doing and stuff like what Charlie is doing, and then obviously ruler schools, they're making their deck profiles and stuff. But like I don't know, I feel like there needs to be more of a casual mindset market going on or something there. I don't know. Yeah, I've thought about like trying to make some casual gameplay content and stuff. It's just a matter of finding the time for it. And I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna talk about something that's not super Force of Will related again, because I do that every now and then. I have a D&D group. We try to play weekly, if not like every other week. Occasionally someone will be on vacation, and for most D&D groups, they would just be like, okay, we'll just Jaeger or Gundam pilot the character. Personally, I watch Code Geass, so I would say Nightmare frame it. But yeah, that's what they will typically do, and we used to do that at the start, where like if someone's just not gonna be able to make it for a week, we'll just have like 2 other characters justify what actions they take. But we've gotten to the point to where I think we're like 70 sessions of D&D, 62 of which is the main campaign, and then like 8 others are like one-shots or something like that kind of thing. And yeah, it's gotten to a point where I don't think any of us feel comfortable making a decision that might accidentally get a player's character killed while they're not there, which there has been close calls, and like me as a DM, I really try not to hold back. Like if I feel like a character should be attacked or something, or if a character like triggers a trap or something, just to like spitball there, I will try to treat it like, yeah, no, that should happen. This should happen. They should die here, you know, like that sort of mindset. But like we've gotten to a point where 2 of them are level, man, I am a bad DM. I don't actually remember what level my players are. I design my encounters not based off the levels, but of like the general power feel of my players, because we're obviously not it's not a textured one, nice. We're obviously not like core rules and stuff. Like, yes, we do follow the rules to a degree, but like a lot of it is homebrew. Like a lot of their items and stuff, mostly homebrew. And then also stuff that I find online. Like there's a lot of stuff that I find online. I'm like, ooh, I want that in my campaign. But then like a lot of it is also like me putting the time into making stuff. Like it's set in Autoroctia, obviously like a slightly different version of Autoroctia, because there are some D&D races in there that, as far as we know, are not in Autoroctia. But yeah, no, it's so 2 of them have Regalia, and then one of them has a Grimoire. It's not as broken as Scheherazad's, but yeah, no, it's It's been a bit of a fun challenge designing custom weapons and custom items and stuff like that. But it's been a fun challenge. Like it's honestly been the best D&D group that I've ever had in my time of DMing, and because of that, I don't see myself ever canceling D&D to try and make a LGS like local saying a possibility. And yeah, no, to a degree, it does sadden me that I can't have both happening, because like my thing is that like if I want a locals, I have to commit to it. I have to be the one that meets there every week. I am there from the start of the meetup to the end of the meetup. I am there introducing new players to the game. I am there trying to like level -1 judge calls and stuff. Yeah, no, stuff like that I would have to be actively involved, and finding the time for that while also trying to do D&D, I just don't see that as a possibility. And yeah, no, it sucks. It does, yeah, because you know I do love Force of Will. I do wish I could play more, but with work, having the D&D, so I'm spending out like, you know, the prep time I put into D&D, like making maps and like writing ideas and stuff. Oh, that's a beautiful textured card. But like all that stuff, finding the time for it's just hard. So like a majority of my Forcible gameplay is trying to squeeze in games before and after D&D. The times that I actually manage to get a LGS meetup going, which it feels like it's a once every month situation, and most of the time it is mostly just Magic the Gathering that is played, because I'm not gonna like force people to play Force of Will. You know, I show up there, I bring Force of Will cards, and then it's a matter of like, all right, what does the group want to do? And I usually do like polls and stuff of like, hey, do you want to just play Magic? Do you want to like bring a different card game? Because I'm also very open. Like if someone wants to bring a different card game to try out, as long as they provide the cards, yeah, I'll at least try it out. And yeah, but yeah, for the most part, it turns into Magic the Gathering Battle Royale, which after doing that for multiple sessions, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna toss the idea of Commander out to them, because like that's so much simpler than being like, oh, we should probably buy new cards and stuff. It's like, no, if we're just gonna play multiplayer the whole time, we might as well just play Commander. So for the most part, everyone's kind of investing into a Commander deck, and maybe one of these days I'll be able to get Geraldo to come and join for that or something. Or yeah, that's another thing, like as to why this is probably getting given to me, is that yeah, I was pretty much after everyone else kind of started to quit playing Force of Will, because I mean that just happens for a lot of card games for people, like, you know, yeah, like still hang out and stuff, you know. I mean, that's how it is for some people, you know, like you can, you know, play a card game, collect a card game and stuff, but like for some people, they just kind of like get tired of it. They get tired. It's not even like so much like the game is bad or anything, but like it takes effort to keep up with the game. It does. And if you're like a gamer that like also plays a lot of video games and stuff, a card game is like, I want to take a breather from a video game. And then it's like, okay, well, there's a new video game coming out. Do I want to drop money on the new Force of Will set, or do I want to play this new video game? And it's like, well, everyone else is getting this video game, so I'm gonna drop money on that instead of Force of Will. Or, oh, there's this new game coming out, this new crazy card game. I want to try it out, and it's like, oh, I'll try it out with you, you know, like that sort of thing. Like, and that's how Force of Will was to a degree. I was like shown it on, I think it was Cockatrice was what we used. That was like my first game with Draw. Oh yeah, that's right. My very first game was also with Little Red on Cockatrice, and I barely figured out what I was supposed to do. I was like, okay, so you tap your ruler and then you draw a card from the stone deck and then you play that card. It's like, that was like how we were like walking through it, because here's the thing, like when Force of Will was starting, there wasn't really so much like a star deck that you could get at the time, except for the Valhalla ones, which I didn't know about those until I just looked on Amazon and stuff, which like shortly after that Cockatrice game, I was like, all right, I need to buy some now. I need to get these cards. This looks really fun. I want to play it more. I want to play it in person and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, the fact that like we have not been able to hang out all that much because life is a thing, like I said in the earlier part, Geraldo has a wife and 2 kids. Before that, you know, it was his girlfriend and stuff, and at the time I also had a girlfriend, so a lot of our free time was very much like spent on them. Like we did try to like hang out and stuff as much as we could, and work, you know, started getting in the way, and then it started becoming like the days that we did actually have free time, it was like I'm just exhausted, and like we just never always found enough time to like, let's play some Force of Will. There's a lot of times where it was like, let's just hop on our computer and like maybe play a game or something, and even then like it's still hard to like find the time for that. Like there's just not enough hours in the day, there's not enough days in the week. Yeah, no, it's a rough time. This is just a part of growing up. And also being very introverted, like putting the energy into actually wanting to like hang out and stuff, it takes a lot out of us, you know, at least for me. Man, we are already, I don't know why I'm gonna cut this off, I just looked at the time. I'm gonna save that rambling more for later, but yeah. Also, just a little fun thing, his name is actually, okay, so as it's spelt, you're supposed to pronounce it Geraldo, but most people call him Gerald, and this is just something that, as a kid, I decided as like a nickname that I was gonna roll with no matter what. Here's the thing. Yes, my name is actually Rustin. How many Rustins do you know in the world? Is that enough time were you able to think up like, you know, 5, maybe 10? In actuality, you maybe know another Rustin aside from me. If you know more than one Rustin, if you know more than 2 Rustin, where the fuck do you live where there are more than 2 Rustin that you know? Because I want to know, like, this is not a very common name. And my justification whenever, you know, I heard people call him Gerald, I was like, there's an O there whenever I saw his like name and stuff. And then like, you know, I heard like Geraldo, you know, being said as well. And I was just like, those sound like 2 very common names. I'm just gonna call you Geraldo. So if there's ever a Gerald or a Geraldo that's around, when I say Geraldo, you know I'm talking about you. So yeah, no, it was very much like I think that was like the first time and possibly the only time I can think of where I ever gave a friend a nickname, and I just kind of stuck with it because like, this is gonna get a little sentimental. I told him like, listen, you're important to me. I want you to stand out compared to everyone else that's around. I'm gonna call you Geraldo, is like how I justified it. Yeah. Alright, back to the cards. Here's something really cool. I kind of glossed over the special stones, which also, yeah, no, he had a lot more true stones in this. So we're missing Little Red, the pure stone. I believe he had a feasting, I believe we had each at least one of these true stones. So yeah, hopefully he finds those. And there's also some dual stones here that are also missing. Like, I'm talking about the old school ones, not necessarily like the non-foil ones from CFC and like the Vengolf 1 and 2 ones. But yeah, there's no old school Heat Ray in here, which is kind of a bummer. Like I said, he found more of his collection, so hopefully those cards are in there. If not, hopefully they get found, because even if I don't like actually add them to my collection, like I said, I still want them to be around, because that's a lot of memories there. That's a lot of memories. Alright, so here's something that newer players you probably didn't really know about. Foil basic stones. Foil basic stones from booster packs. Yep, older packs had the chance of getting foil basic stones. Do I think that they should bring it back? I would say yes and no. I don't want to take up the, bonus card that could be a rare, could be a super rare, could be a Marvel rare. I don't want it to be like an additional thing, like, which that's asking a lot. Asking for 2 foils. Well, okay, I know I'm saying it's asking a lot, but like, I feel like that's like an extra thing that might make the pack a little more expensive. But it would be cool. It would be cool. I'm not gonna like cry about it or anything, but like, imagine getting waifu stones in foil without having to like pay a shit ton of money or have to like track them down, because Jeremy over Ruler School probably has already bought them all. Actually, those might actually be they might actually be in a different language now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure you could get them in Vengolf 3. Oh well. Like a little bonus thing or something, yeah. Here's a little fun thing for you guys to know about my collection. I never bought Vengolf 3 whenever it launched. Yeah, I regret that. Having to go back and buy it was a bitch, because holy shit, that price increase. So I have 1 sealed box of Vengolf 3, and then I have like a playset and a half, I believe, of just the cards and stuff. Yeah, after looking at that stuff and all that, I was like, I should start pre-ordering stuff and not... There's a mindset of mine where, like, at a certain point, I was like, I don't need to buy booster boxes as they release. I can just, like, find some time and just pick them up at my leisure. And then the concept of limited print runs and not doing reprints came up, and I was like, fuck, that's not good. And whenever I found out about that, which Geraldo also like hooked me up, by the way, for this information, he said that Decisive Battle for Valhalla was going to be like the first set that would be print to order. And I was like, oh, that sounds bad. I love Force of Will. I don't know if I'll be able to find those boxes if it's print to order or print to pre-order or whatever. And yeah, that was the first like set that I ever pre-ordered. And yeah, I still have 5 boxes and stuff unopened because of that, because I was like, I won't be able to find the time to play this set, just because like, it was like a new job at that point and stuff. And I was just like, collecting boxes at my leisure and stuff. Like, yeah, still had a girlfriend at that time and stuff, so I wasn't like buying cases like I, do now. But yeah, buying boxes at leisure, and then hearing that news, I was like, I need to pre-order. I've never pre-ordered a booster box before. I need to pre-order. And I like went online. I went to like different websites, and they were like sold out and stuff. And I ended up pre-ordering from a company. I think it's not to. It was some like British or just European company or something. And I like put the pre-order in, and then I was like, wait, do they ship internationally? Did I fuck up? So like I immediately like called them. I remember I was at Vintage Stock, and I like called them and stuff because I pre-ordered at Vintage Stock, and then I was like, wait, I need to double check this. I need to make sure that I'm not fucking up here. And they were like, yeah, no, we ship internationally. I was like, thank fuck, oh my god. In hindsight, I wish I had bought a case's worth or bought more, but I was also just a casual player at the time who barely got to play in general, and I was just like, I just want to have this in case, I ever need to crack them open or something, which I never really ended up needing to crack them open because, like I said, I didn't get into the competitive scene at all until after New Valhalla had rotated out. The first tournament that I played in, it was the start of Saga Cluster, so yeah. And now like the power is to the point to where this is gonna be a hot take. I don't think decks really need Dark Alice Rabbit Princess. There, I said it. I don't think it's super needed. I don't. You can run a deck just fine without her. She is expensive because yes, she is a good card, but it's also a waifu status thing, and the fact that the booster boxes, there's just not a lot available. The reason those booster boxes are expensive is because yes, it's a great set, but also the availability, that's a huge factor. That's probably the biggest factor of it in my opinion, because name another card. Okay, I guess Perfect Loki, but like who's running Perfect Loki these days? Like, yeah, there's a lot of great cards in there, but who's running them? Aside from Dark Alice Rabbit Princess, I don't hear about any other card from that set getting ran. Wait, is Look at Corruption DBV? I don't think it is. Point is, I don't think I will ever crack open a box of that unless it's like a very special occasion. Like, don't get me wrong, I am very happy I hit 100 subscribers. I'm at like 142 or 3. I think I'm at 143 as of today. I think I got a subscriber today. I'm at 143 right now. I have a plan to celebrate the 100 subscribers. I just need to get around to filming it. It's a very dumb plan, and it requires the timing of multiple things, and I still have prep work to do on it, including a proper script, because I have the idea in my head, I just have not. I'm not the best writer. The skits that we've done so far, like, yes, there's a script to a degree, but a lot of the words on there, it turns into like, well, how would you say it? What feels more natural to say? And then a lot of it is also like, hey, I'm gonna say this like this. So I'm not the best writer. I have ideas. I just need to, like, you know, the issue with this one is that it's not that, you know, we're like hanging out at a place and stuff to do this. For this, it's more like we need to go somewhere and film this, or we have multiple people with us, and I feel bad if we try to do it and then there's just not a good enough direction to actually like get it filmed and stuff. So I'd feel bad about that. And that's like the major reason why I haven't like recorded it yet. Like, I do have plans to make something for 100 subscribers. I'm very thankful to have hit that number. Young Rustin, who's just making you know, very dumb gameplay videos, like looking back at the older videos of mine, it's a level of cringe, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, they're from like, I think the most recent, aside from my Force of Will videos, it's either, this is really stupid, it's either 7 years old or is it 3 years old? I don't remember. Point is, my older stuff it's pretty cringe. It's pretty cringe. There's the occasional time that I consider hiding that stuff, but there's also the idea of, this is gonna get dark, by the way. If something ever happens to me, and, let's say my family, like, wants to reminisce or something, like after I'm gone or something, assuming YouTube doesn't do anything drastic, like delete channels or something. I mean, they've done that before, but like, let's hope that I'm not like a channel that gets deleted randomly or something, due to like inactivity or something. If they ever do something like that, let's hope that it's like an archive or something for my family to like go back and like look at that stuff and be like, hey, we can still hear his voice or something like that, you know. It's a very dark thing to think about. I don't have like a terminal disease. I'm not like getting hunted down or anything, but like, there's a lot of dangers in the world. It's a dangerous place. Anything can happen in the world. I could get hit by a meteor like during the recording of this video and it never get uploaded. Like, horrible things can happen, and we are fragile. We are humans. Yeah. So that's something that I also kind of think about, is like, sure, the skits might not be amazing. These might just be pack opening videos. This is just me rambling while sleeving cards. But yeah, it's still something, as like it's not like a huge mark left on the world, but yeah, no, I'm here. I'm making content. I tried doing that while I was sleeving a card. Yeah, content. So it's Force of Will content. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is pretty zen. This was a good. This felt dumb whenever I was thinking about the idea, but yeah, no, just kind of sleeving and then just like shooting the shit. Yeah, this is kind of like my own podcast. It's just sleeving cards while talking about different stuff. So we're past an hour already on this recording alone. I think I'm gonna do like maybe a small stack of these, and then we'll say that's the end of part 1. So the concept that I've had in mind was, you know, making, you know, more casual content for Force of Will. Yeah, we're getting back on track. Are you guys happy? Cool. So making more casual content. So I thought about trying to make like deck lists and stuff, and like a format that I appreciate but I feel like doesn't get enough attention, so it it's not regulated as well is the format Genesis, which if Epic Stories is like Commander, then Genesis to me is like Canadian Highlander, which if you don't know what Canadian Highlander is, it's Magic the Gathering, but it's singleton. It's 100 card deck singleton stuff. Now Genesis is 60 card singleton, and obviously IU, Ragnarok, and then more than likely Zeus would be banned on it because those decks are already singleton. I mean, Zeus is singleton, but you can have 4 copies of one card, but he's basically singleton. Those 3 rulers would obviously be banned, and they do have like a small ban list. And then deck sizes are 60 cards, starting life is 6,000, and then stone deck is 15. The stone deck also has to be singleton. And while there is allowance of a sideboard for like certain cards and stuff to actually access the sideboard, I'd make an argument that the sideboard, if it's not already, it should also be singleton. I believe it is in the rules for Genesis that the sideboard has to be singleton, but yeah, if it's not, it should be in there. So yeah, I've been thinking about making like Genesis decks and playing them against other Genesis decks just with friends and stuff, which I have made like multiple Genesis decks, and I do want to make more. It's just a matter of finding which ruler I want to actually which of these piles do I want to start with actually? Which of these look juicy? We got Little Dread here, which kind of want to sleeve that up soon. Blazer. Ooh, okay, I see some spice there. Oh, that's some nostalgia right there. Oh, all right, scoot this over. This is a big pile. We're gonna go for 20 minutes. I don't know if we'll get through this pile, but let's get going. So yeah, I do want to make some like more Genesis decks, and I kind of want to like show off those decks a bit, and then also record games with them. It is a matter of finding the time to actually record it, and then also finding people that want to record. Like, yeah, I can probably do it online, and don't get me wrong, I love how, very inviting and friendly the Forcible community is. Like, I, not to toot my own horn, but I say welcome to just about everyone in the Forcible Discords, the Forcible TCG Discord, and then also the Ruler School Discord, which I consider like the major like hubs for like the Forcible community. Outside of Facebook, I'm not a big Facebook person, so outside of that, I would say those are like the 2 major like hubs in my opinion. But yeah, like my mindset is like, if someone has been welcomed in one of those chats yet, I usually try to welcome them. It's like my mindset. But yeah, I try to be welcoming, and like obviously there's like a lot of other people who are very welcoming and like helpful and stuff, and there's plenty of people that want to play Force of Will games and they'd be down to be recorded and stuff. And yeah, we could also like, my main thing is like I want to play the cards physically if possible, because there's a bit of a comfort there of playing with the cards physically, of like if someone has a question, or if there's maybe a card that takes control of other cards. And it's nicer to do that in person than over like webcam. And yeah, untap is an option too, but I'm kind of hoping that untap gets phased out, because Halo, Kosetsu, and I believe there's some other people that are also helping them out with making a Force of Will simulator. So don't necessarily want to make content on untap. Like, yeah, it's a great free program and stuff. It's just that like I kind of want my first like digital use for Force of Will to be on a Force of Will simulator. I don't know. I think I'm also pretty stubborn to actually learn Untap again, because I used to use Untap a lot to play online, just like not necessarily like against the Force of Will community and stuff, but I mean like I have played Force of Will games against people on there in the past. But yeah, I don't necessarily like the UI. Like, yes, the UI like works, it's very user friendly and stuff, but there's just like so many things I like don't really care for it. I'm also a little salty that it doesn't work on mobile. It's been out for like over a year now as an option that you can play on mobile, and they still haven't fixed the fucking life point tracker. So I was a little peeved about that it hasn't been taken care of, which you would think after a year, like of it being an option, like, yeah. I don't know. There's a workaround for it, but the workaround is kind of annoying. Yeah. So I'm kind of just like waiting for a Force of Will simulator to like finally launch. And I've told them before of like, hey, if you'll get to the level of Untap, but it's a dedicated like Force of Will simulator like that, like I think it's Dueling Book or something, that's for Yu-Gi-Oh! where it's basically like, yeah, you have the fields and the zones and stuff, but you still have to like know how the cards work. If it can get to that point, I will hop on that like a madman. Like, I'm, for the most part, you know, like I have topped 8 before in a GP. I would say I have a fairly good understanding of how the game works. I'm definitely not judge level. I am definitely not judge level. I will make mistakes all the time, but you get what I mean of like, for the most part, I know how the game functions. I would be able to like figure out how a card should function and stuff. Or I would just call a judge. Like, you know, we have a Get Judge channel and stuff. Yeah, on the Discords, and I would probably just use that a lot. But yeah, you get what I mean. Of like, that would be cooler than using Untap. Because like what they have right now is that, and by the way, Force of Wind is what I'm referring to here right now. They have a deck builder, and the deck builder is fucking awesome. I fucking love that deck builder. I cannot use it at the office because it is blocked on the Wi-Fi, sadly, and the cell reception is non-existent. If we ever lose Wi-Fi in that building, I will just not be able to use my phone, like, at all. Like, holy shit, that building just, like, kills reception. But, yeah, so, like, Force of Wind, fucking beautiful. I would be on it so much more often if I could use it at work. But yeah, it's like a really solid deck builder. And there's a Discord for Force of Wind where you can like give like feature requests, you can report bugs, just all those like nice little handy things of like, instead of going to like an app and like, you know, an app like store page or something is what I mean, and like writing a complaint there, or like going to a website and like, you know, technical support or something. Like, a lot of people who play Force of Will, they have a Discord. There's a lot of people that, you know, like will hop on the Discord and, you know, just shoot the shit and stuff. But like being able to like go over into the Force of Wind Discord and be like, hey, I found this bug or something, and you'll usually get a reply like within a day, like, you know, sometimes within an hour. Like, hell, I've gotten a reply like within a few seconds whenever like one of them is actually like online and stuff. Like, sorry, there's like something, oh, it's on the sleeve, right? Oh, okay. There's like a piece of lint or something that I think was on the card. But yeah, I've gotten like quick replies of like, what was the bug, you know, like what does it look like, you know, all that good stuff, and they usually get fixed pretty quickly, or they'll like provide like a workaround. Like, one of the things I ran into was like, my computer was just not liking Force of Wind one day. Don't know what the deal was, but yeah, like it's a great deck builder. Like, is my go-to deck builder now. I still prefer having the cards physically in front of me because that's just how my mind kind of works. I want to see the cards like here and like actually be like, okay, this is how many Resonators I have, this is how this looks, these are my spells, like stones and all that. Like, that's still like a very much a comfortable like thing to do for deck building, in my opinion. Yeah, but like, I have made a full-fledged deck on there just using the deck builder. It is a very nice deck builder. Like, what I'll usually do is I'll like toss in like 100 cards or something is what the deck looks like at the beginning, and then I cut it down, and like, yeah. It's very handy. Would highly recommend that too. Even if you're a casual player, it is very useful. They're also getting it to the point where you'll be able to like view public decks and stuff. And as it is right now, if you have a link to someone's deck, you can actually view all their public decks. So I mentioned like Sabo earlier. So like, if you're in the Force of Will Discord, the Force of Will TCG Discord, I'm sorry, and you go like Wanderer and you just like search at Sabo with a link, you'll see like a bunch of decks that he's posted. Just click on any of those decks, and then like, unless they change the layout, it'll be the top, I think it's actually top center, at least on mobile. You'll see his name, click on his name, and you can just see all the different decks that he's made. And same thing with mine. A lot of the decks that I have on there are purely just the star decks that like in my free time I've like thrown the cards together, because there's a little export to untap button. That's very handy. And like, my reasoning for doing that was that there just was not a very easy way to quickly copy and paste the star decks into untap. So I just kind of wanted to like do that and just have that on the ready for like whenever like a new player comes in and it's like, hey, what deck should I try out or something? And then like people are like, try out the star deck and all that. And like, instead of just like saying try out the star deck, I can like send them a link to what the star deck looks like. And yeah, I just really really dig that. That was a great little feature to add. Just being able to like very easily view decks and being able to like very easily like see what other decks people have made. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it as far as what they include as features and stuff. I'm assuming they'll get to the point where I think it's Foul Library, where you can just search by like the different rulers and stuff. And you can also deck build on, is it Foul Library or am I thinking of a Foul Database or Alter? I'm forgetting what the actual like website was with the deck builders, but point is there's a website they can deck build with. I've done it like once and it was not the smoothest like way to deck build, or yeah, no, it didn't feel that smooth. And then also another factor for me was the fact that like it was just the names, whereas like for Foul Wind, once you start deck building, like I went to actually make a new deck and stuff, as you search, the card images will load and stuff, so you can like actually see the cards, and then you can like click on them and then like add to main deck, add a ruler, add a stone deck, add a sideboard. You can also make like different extra decks and stuff. You can like make a stranger deck, make a rune deck, all that cool stuff. They also add a feature to where like if your deck is no longer Wanderer legal or something, it'll give you a warning of that and stuff, which is really nice. It's like just a bunch of like very good quality of life things that they've just kind of like been working on and stuff. So like hats off to them, like solid job. Now we're almost out of this box. Man, I might need to actually buy some more sleeves. Woof. I think after a couple more cards we'll call it here. But just to get to the part where I was talking about nostalgia, right here, Lancelot with the best artwork for Lancelot in my opinion, at least for the fire one. Like look at that. That is so fucking cool. Damn. Let me see if I can quickly find the booster box version of Lancelot. Yeah, there's a copy around here somewhere. Found it. Okay, so yeah, this was the Faria and Melgus like dual deck, star decks I guess you could say, artwork for Lancelot. Really fucking cool. The lights not really doing it just, man, it looks fucking amazing in person, I will say that. Don't think the lighting is, yeah, making it darker doesn't work. Putting too much light to it makes it too glaring. Okay, trust me here, it looks fucking amazing. Like the detail and stuff on just everything for this Lancelot, I fucking love it. When this came out in the like dual decks, this was an excuse to buy 4 of them. Like fucking awesome. Cool artwork. At the time, this was insanely powerful. Its downside is that it had to be the first thing to attack. Like, big whoop. I think there was one time where I accidentally killed my own resonator just because like I think he had like banished something in response to me targeting his resonator or something. No, that wasn't it. What was the way that, oh, you know what it was? I bet it was this. I know I've had this ability backfire on me before. At the very least, I've seen it backfire. It was, there wasn't a target on the opponent's side of the field, and Lancelot was boosted just to 1,000 just because of I think it was Hector that had come into the field, and yeah, it was like, oh, you just killed your own Hector, rip. Yeah. Still really cool. And then this artwork came out and it's like, is Lancelot actually a woman in the lore, at least for the fire version, or is that just like a very like thick pectoral muscles? Like what's the deal going on there? Like, so I don't know. I just really, this artwork's really fucking cool. This artwork still beats the promo artwork for Lancelot. If I feel like I'm vindictive enough, I will put the artwork for the promo version of Lancelot right here, so that way everyone can see it and everyone can be cursed. But yeah. So good. Alright, we are going to sleeve these up, at least until I'm out of these black sleeves. But yeah, this was the first time that I was like, oh, you do need to buy 4 of a star deck for it, because that's really fucking good. And then like, you know, a couple sets later, Lancelot gets a reprint and stuff, so yeah. Vingolf 1 was the first time that we saw reprints for Force of Will, and then it was the Twilight Wanderer that we saw reprints again. No, that's not right. It was actually 7 Kings of the Land. When the fuck? Oh, hold up. Sorry, I'm dumb. It was fucking Seven Kings of the Land had reprints, and then Twilight Wanderer also had reprints. But yeah, point is, Lancelot, the only way you could get Lancelot at the time was to buy 4 of those dual decks, but it was, if you were playing competitively, definitely worth the money. You also got Leviathan, which was fucking OP and stuff. Yeah. Alright, I still have more sleeves. I still have more cards that need to be sleeved, but this video is already approaching the 2-hour mark. We just finished a box of Dragon Shields. I think we'll call it here for now. We got through a decent chunk of the collection. This is still looking like maybe a 3 to 4 parter, not gonna lie, just from sleeving the foils alone. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I'll call this here for now. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.